Hey everyone, Mr. Sujano here, your source for gaming, tech, emulation, and open source news. Let's get started. Alright, to kick things off, we're talking about Pokemon TCG Pocket, and it turns out that one of the changes the Pokemon Company have made to the game has not resonated well with fans. And it turns out the Pokemon Company is walking back these changes. So for those who may be unaware, the feature was trading in Pokemon TCG Pocket. However, the trading feature was super limited. So trades could only be done between friends. Trade can only be done with cards of the same rarity. And trades were limited to specific cards. And this was, well, it wasn't received very well from a lot of people. A lot of people thought this was complete BS. Now, this trading feature was announced back on January 16th at 5 p.m. And if we take a look here and scroll down to a reply, it was 59 minutes later. It seemed that very soon after that announcement, people were voicing their displeasure with this, and, well, Pokemon responded. Thank you everyone for your immediate thoughts on this topic. Your concerns are seen. And just the other day, they issued a statement here kind of walking back some of those restrictions. So they say here, the item requirements and restrictions implemented for the trading feature were designed to prevent abuse from bots and other prohibited actions using multiple accounts. Our goal was to balance the game while maintaining a fair environment for all players and preserving the fun and collecting cards that is the core to the Pokemon Pocket experience. However, thanks to your feedback, we understand that some of the restrictions put in place are preventing players from being able to casually enjoy the feature as intended. We are actively investigating ways to improve the feature to address these concerns. Going forward, we also plan to offer multiple ways to obtain trade tokens, including through event distribution. So some people may say, you know what, Pokemon is listening, and that's a very good thing. And I would say they better be listening. This is a huge cash cow for them, and they want people to continue to spend money on this game and continue to grow the game. And considering this seemed to be unanimously hated by the entire community, they're going to try to do what's right here, and well, that's a good thing. And on a side note here, just for some reference, previously back in November, it was reported that Pokemon TCG Pocket surged past $100 million in 17 days, and that it was earning on average about $6.4 million per day. So yes, I would say that this app is a cash cow. Moving on, and this one's a fairly quick one and I don't need to dwell on it, but it appears that there's going to be a PlayStation State of Play in February. Nate the Hate, who has been known for leaking or at least having insider knowledge of a lot of this stuff, has confirmed that yes, the State of Play is happening in February. Next up, we're talking about Nitrux, which is a Linux distribution, an immutable Linux distribution powered by Debian, KDE Plasma, and frameworks and app images. And Nitrux just got a brand new update. So at the time of filming, Nitrux 3.9.0 PD is the latest release, where PD stands for Subscribe to Mr. Sujano, or it was the codename for the release, which highlights the switch from using TLP to Power Profiles daemon. I guess depending on how you wanted to interpret that. There's a whole bunch of fixes and a bunch of updates in this new version of Nitrux, and the kernel is now version 6.12.11-2 Licorice. On top of that, there's also more support for NVIDIA GPUs with updated NVIDIA drivers. Next up, we're talking about something I don't normally talk about on this channel, but there are video game and technology tie-ins here, so I think it's worth mentioning. Anyways, a lot of people are well aware of the LA wildfires, and it turns out that there's a number of planes helping put out those fires, and a number of those planes are from Canada. And from my understanding, someone launched a drone to try to inspect the wildfires and see what was going on, and that was about it. And then they lost track of the drone or lost sight of it or lost communication with it or something. And it turns out the drone put a hole in the wings of one of these planes, taking the plane out of service. The pilots were safe and everything seemed to have been okay, except for the people that were being saved from the plane using the water to put out the fires. Anyways, here it turns out that the person who launched the drone was Peter Ackerman, who is the co-founder of Treyarch. The drone that he used was a DJI Mini 3 Pro, and the charge here is 1 count of unsafe operation of an unmanned aircraft. In my opinion, that seems kind of low given the fact that flying drones during the wildfires was banned because of the planes putting out the fires and the risks that were involved. I don't know if he knew this or didn't or was ignorant, but at the same time here, I mean, the consequences are pretty dire in situations like this. I'm not a lawyer and I'm not an expert in wildfires or anything like that, but I'd imagine having one less plane available to help put out the fires is a pretty bad thing. Now, on top of the one count of unsafe operation of an unmanned aircraft, it appears that Peter Ackerman has to pay the damages here, which were over $65,000, and complete 150 hours of community service. Let me know your thoughts about that one in the comments below, and please keep the comments civil. And speaking about Treyarch and Call of Duty, next up here we're talking about Call of Duty, and it appears that hackers now have a tool built into their Call of Duty cheats that allows them to disconnect any player from the game. Obviously, this is a huge problem, especially for those trying to play competitive matches, and I guess this person is taking a bit of a lighter approach to it and thinks this tool may be useful. Please just disconnect my teammates for me. Thanks. And last up here, we're talking about RetroDeck. Now, at the time of filming, this update has not happened just yet. It hasn't released, but it is expected to release this week at some point. Or next week if you think Sunday is the end of the week and Monday is a brand new week, which I think most normal people do. Anyways, here, RetroDeck version 0.9.0b Captain Comeback is the latest update. This is a pretty big update for RetroDeck. There's a whole bunch of fixes, a whole bunch of improvements, a whole bunch of emulators got updated, and there's some brand new features, like a new RetroDeck ESDE theme. Additionally, here, they're reporting that they've reduced the application size by about 40%, 600 megabytes, so it seems it's a lot more efficient now, or at least a lot more lightweight. On top of that, RetroDeck can now be used as a headless engine to run your games. And there's even more stuff in here. They've got Steam ROM Manager and Steam Sync and even more. They've added in Portmaster, they've added in Ruffle, and there's even more stuff here. This is a really big update for RetroDeck. RetroDeck is 100% free. It's open source and it's a sandbox application to play your retro games on Linux as well as SteamOS and your Steam Deck. But anyways, that is all I've got for you in this one. Straight to the point, all stuff and the legendary one fluff. Now, we didn't talk about a whole bunch today because it was a relatively light day in the news, and I don't need to keep you here longer than you need to be. But we did talk about some stuff, so feel free to discuss anything we talked about in the comments below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you didn't like this video, leave a like. Hit that subscribe button, check out my other videos, don't tempt fate, save your state.